Hi guys, my name is Solomon Rossman, for those of you who don't know me. I'm 16 years old. I've been drumming for about 10 years now. And today I'm going to talk about my cover of Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin. Alright, so this was an interesting one. For those of you who haven't watched the video, I highly encourage you to go back and watch it. I recorded my very first time ever playing Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin. I would strongly recommend that you go watch it. But it was kind of a lot. It's a lot to remember as far as trying to remember, okay, what did I do? One thing I noticed about the song, and I noticed this like the very first time I listened, I'm like, this is a lot of repetition. It's like, okay, there's this really long thing that repeats 3 times. And there's this really long thing that repeats 3 times. And there's this really long thing that repeats 3 times. And there's this really long thing, and so on, so on. I'm exaggerating a little, but you get what I'm saying. But it's a lot of repetition. And it's not that long of a song, but because there's so much repetition, it makes it feel longer than it is, even though it's, 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes. But it's longer, but it's not like it's a 10-minute song. So, it's not really that much to remember. It's just that you start to space out. You're like, Oh, I missed my cue. You get what I'm saying? It's like, because you keep doing the same thing over and over, eventually you come to a point where it's like, I'm awake. No, I wasn't sleeping. Or whatever. Which, that's actually a good thing for drummers to work on, is when there's a lot of repetition, don't get dazed and confused. See what I did there? Don't get dazed and confused and miss your cue, because then you're gonna ruin the entire song, and you could make other people look bad, but you're mostly just gonna make yourself look bad. So that's why you gotta practice when you're alone. You just... Here comes my cue. Now! Or whatever it is. So that was definitely something I struggled with on this song. I'm working on that now, at least for this song in particular. I think since I recorded, I've played this song 10 times at least. But one thing I wanted to say is it's relatively basic, with a few things that are easy but not common. So there were parts where I added cymbals that weren't there just because I'm like, yeah, why not? I'm not trying to be John Bonham. I'm trying to play my version of the song. And so you take a little bit of what John Bonham did, or you take most of what John Bonham did, but you throw a little bit of your own flair in there, because you're not trying to be John Bonham. You're never going to be John Bonham. You can only be you, but you can learn from John Bonham. You can learn from John Bonham and then throw in your own stuff. So like, there's in between each verse, there's the and that's and then when it gets to the verse, he switches from the ride to the hi-hat. Like, it's literally... So what I did, because I didn't like the sound of that. I like John Bonham. Love him, especially Immigrant Song. Very creative. But there are certain things where it's like, oh, I don't like the sound of that. It wasn't bad per se. It's just not my thing. So I didn't like switching from the hi-hat or the ride straight to the hi-hat. So I decided to add in very light crash. And then there were other parts where honestly I think I could have added in some cymbals that I didn't. So I added some in that weren't called for. I could have added more, I think. Just because it's my thing. But yeah. Overall, I really liked that song, and I'm going to continue to practice it. Like I said, I think I've played it 10 times now since I first recorded that. So it's a really enjoyable song, and that is the very first song I've ever actually played by Led Zeppelin. So as far as I know, only John Bonham song I've ever done on the drums. It was pretty fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share if you haven't already. You can leave a request in the comments down below and I'll take a look at it. And until next time, I'll see you later.
Been dazed and confused for so long, it's not true. One day